The good news is not about good manners. I am a Texas girl, so the first words we learned after mom, dad, and food were please and thank you. And now, as a mom myself, I've emphasized teaching my child the same. But we don't need Jesus for that. One of my seminary professors would always distinguish niceness from the gospel by saying, Jesus Christ did not die for this. Jesus did not walk through hell and back so that we would learn to be grateful. But I do need Jesus to see, have mercy, and bless the me I hide. The me that gets sick and tired, or both, or doesn't fit other people's expectations. The me that others tell me I should hide. The me that isn't productive or impressive. The me that doesn't make it to social media. The me that is pushed to the regions outside, yet in between the known and named places. Just having this truest and raw expression of my being seen and held, makes me feel more alive and free, whether or not anything else about my situation changes. These lepers are forced to live outside the city limits in the shanty towns they make for themselves. Probably not entirely different from the way Freedman's Town came into being. Because of nothing other than their circumstances, perhaps the way they were born or something that would not enter their lives until much later, they are pronounced unclean, dangerous, and so cut off from their neighborhoods, their families, the marketplace, and certainly the sacred places. Empire readily bestows honor and blessing, glory and might to the names of conquerors like Columbus, no matter their crimes. But Christ hears and restores those who have been removed from home through a trail of tears. In our own home here in the Gulf Coast, this land once native to the Karankawa people, who were said to be gone, extinct, until slowly they discovered that they just thought they were the only ones. And they began talking to each other and recognizing a community here, still living. As a people of incarnational faith, Jesus' healing of the physical body here matters, but it is also so much more. It goes so much farther. This restoration extends to body and soul and community. When Jesus heals, it is never just a cure of a single ailment, but reconciling us to wholeness. I have a friend who serves as a hospice chaplain at a children's hospital here in town. I cannot imagine a more difficult call. Her work is to tend to those whose bodies will not know complete healing in this life. But she has taught me to reconsider how I think of healing. She helps her patients imagine what goodness might look like for them, not beyond, but within their current circumstances. So instead of a limited view in which they are wishing only for a miracle, they actually expand their scope to see healing as making it down the hall to eat lunch in the cafeteria, reconnecting with family, or writing part of their story that they have not shared before. Such stories tug at my heart. but have also offered a gospel of liberation that points to wholeness even when physical or mental wellness is not probable or possible. It seems like more than the power of positive thinking. It's the proclamation of life and love, even in the face of death and decay. And even children are invited to take part in this witness and work. Jesus tells the lepers, "Go." Priests didn't have magic power to heal them, but they could declare them clean and thus restore them to community. And so even while they are still pocked and scarred, they made their way. Jesus gives them agency in their own restoration. They have a role to play in the journey toward their own healing and wholeness. There's a popular story that perhaps has been told so many times that it kind of sounds trite or cliche at this point, but it comes to mind for me here. A person has fled their rooftop to survive a terrible flood. But the waters around them continue to rise, and they cry out, "God, save me!" And there's silence. But then a boat comes along and offers a ride to safety, and the person refuses, insisting that God will save them. And this goes on and on as the waters continue to rise. Another help, a helicopter, all manner of opportunities pass by, but they still refuse to go with them, insisting that they are waiting on God to save them. Till finally the waters overtake them and they are face to face with God, wondering why God had not been there. And God replies that that's what the boat, the helicopter, and all the other invitations for help were for. It seems obviously foolish to our ears in this time and place. But how many of us are aware that there's something not quite right about our cough or that mole and still put off making an appointment? We know we are hustling and struggling to keep up appearances, even when a friend gave us the name of a good therapist that we could talk to. We are lonely deep in our bones, but still don't accept the invitation to hang out with others. I wonder if sometimes we become so accustomed or comfortable even in our isolation as a matter of survival that we then resist or fear connection and belonging. Cole Arthur Riley, a young Black woman with incredible spiritual wisdom, wrote in her book, This Here Flesh, that if you go without belonging for long enough, if you've known the sting of betrayal, you can end up manufacturing an identity from your own alienation. Abuse, trauma, heartache, and depression can all cause us to resist the very things that would restore us: touch, community, voice. Perhaps for some, a means of restoration comes in the form of their pets or animals, or the way Sister Wind rustles and Brother Sun dances through the tree leaves, giving us a reason to get outside, to breathe deeply, to go for a walk, to cuddle on the couch. Even plant babies can remind us that we are capable of nurture, or that we can fail and try again. They remind us and usher us into life and beauty that we are capable of co-creating with God. So just as a point of clarification, agency is not the same as obligation, right? The good news is not that we can pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps, which is a phrase that actually means that something is impossible. I don't know why we use that. Christ did not walk through hell and back for that nonsense. All the lepers that Jesus encountered that day were healed, not just the ones who felt obliged to return God's grace. The gospel is that all are healed without consideration of their deservingness or indebtedness. And this promise is not conditional or transactional. Wholeness is not only for the well-behaved or the exceeds expectations crowd. It remains just as true and enduring for the ones who go a different way. God's healing is not contingent on our gratitude. But gratitude does seem to amplify that healing. So get up, go on your way. Faith is making all creation whole. Amen.